On August 23rd, Fiber got every Minecraft advancement in 2 hours and 27 minutes. It might seem that it would take several days, even months to get all 80 of them, but through time and lots of studying, speedrunners have found the best way to get every one of them. Even Minecraft's official speedrunning website, speedrun.com, has added all advancements to the official leaderboards. This category has came a long way, but getting all 80 advancements takes less time than some movies. Now, if you want to be like Feinberg and get all 80 advancements as fast as possible, then get out a pencil and notepad to get ready for the journey that is AA. Knowing how to play RSG and having some speedrunning skill, watching at least one AA run even if it's on 2x speed, and finally the AA tracker are must-haves to do an all advancements run. The tracker has everything you will need to complete an AA run, and it will save you from the inevitable death, despair, and even sadness.
What are you doing? Just mind the fresh plate
That you'll feel from this category. You start every AA run with 3 things in the overworld. This is a temple for gunpowder for fireworks, blocks, cobblestone to make tools, and a bunch of other useful things that come in handy during the course of a run. Blow up the temple to get all the stuff the fastest. After you grab your loot, you need to pay attention to the gunpowder count. Top runners will play as low as 7 if it's fast, but since you are new, preferably get more than 10. Once you leave your temple, you need a village, which most of the time will be a desert village, but an acacia village is better because blowing up a house you get wood for pretty much the entirety of your run. But for any village you may encounter, you need to leave with 3 things: bread, an iron pickaxe, and a water bucket. Now if you get no iron and no emeralds from your temple, you need to grab 28 hay bales for a stack of bread and 60 extra wheat to trade with a farmer for 3 emeralds, which then you take to a fisherman for a bucket of cod. You kill the golem to get your iron pickaxe, and now we go to the 3rd thing that we need, which is a lava pool. Throughout your time in the overworld, at some point grab gravel. They usually are gotten from exploding at the bottom of the temple or finding a river along your way to something. Once you're at your lava pool, make your portal like normal. This is what an average inventory should look like as you enter the Nether. You've now entered the Nether, and for the most part, you're going to play the Nether just like 80%, with really only what you keep in the Bastion changing. Once you find your Bastion, they're all going to be pretty much the same, except bridge and treasure, which have a little difference to them. If you get a bridge, mine all the gold blocks if you don't already, and grab the lodestone to avoid a good annoyance so you don't have to do it later. And if you get a treasure, depending on where you enter will be different. If you enter from the bridge, play the Bastion like normal, and once you mine all the gold blocks, boat down to the bottom of the treasure, mine the spawner, and build a little bridge like this with some gold on it to ensure that the piglins don't attack you while mining the gold blocks. Now treasure is the slowest Bastion in this case, but it's the best for overall stuff. You get bottom treasure loot, which can give us lots of things that can save us a bunch of time, with the most notable being netherite. For every Bastion, you need to be leaving with enough fire resistance for 3 extra by the time you leave the Nether. At least 50 by string if you don't get a crossbow from the chests, as many arrows as you can from the chests, 20 obsidian is a must, if not, you have to reset. If you can, do not quite 9 lives, which you get by fully charging a respawn anchor, but don't set your spawn there, and any other thing you want for the future. This is another inventory checkpoint of an average inventory leaving a Bastion with everything. Now you go to the fortress and play it just like normal, just make sure you keep a glass bottle for you need a mint. Once you get your rods, calculate where the stronghold is and go to the stronghold coordinates, and now you have successfully moved on to the stronghold. Now that you've arrived at the final destination of your pre-elytra lives, you need to find the portal room and at least one library. You need 3 things from the library: paper for fireworks, a stack of books, and the enchanted books that it might have. The books that you need to grab if you see them are Mending, Unbreaking 3, and Looting 3. Now many you don't need, it just makes paying attention to your elytra less worrisome, but Unbreaking 3 and Looting 3 you need for a run. Some second tier books that you should grab because they are useful are Smite 4, Aqua Affinity, Respiration, Depth Strider, Silk Touch, and Piercing 4. Now Silk Touch and Piercing 4 you have to get at some point, but it's okay if you skip out on the books here. Now once you get enough paper to somewhat match your gunpowder count, you need to make sure you kill a silverfish from the spawner, and you can now enter the end. In the end, there are two advancements that you want to get before killing the Ender Dragon and going to the outer end. One of them is you need a mint, which you just need to use your empty bottle on the dragon's breath, and the other is free the end, which means you can't kill the dragon with beds because you don't get kill credit. So just make 4 beds using 48 string and make sure you get it low enough to axe the dragon. For the end, you're pretty much done. It's very straightforward. When the dragon is killed, look around for the beam showing the gateway and try to grab only 30 levels. You do this in case something like 2 good swords need to be combined. You can anvil them while in the outer end, and when you come back you get more levels than if you just grab them all. Throw your pearl through the gateway to start the biggest run killer, the outer end. Raise your render distance to 32. You also need to grab 1 chorus fruit for a balanced diet, but you don't need to eat it right away, we'll use it later. If you can't raise to 32 RD, it makes finding an end city really hard, but just run around and you'll eventually find one. Once you find an end city, it just needs to have a ship, and on your pie chart, if there is a brewing stand, that means there is a ship. Build up to the ship, break the brewing stand, and grab the elytra. You're going to want to get a shulker box as soon as possible because our inventory is full and we need more space for the loot we are going to get. Before what you need to grab, this is how most people organize both the shulkers. The first one is more of a later game and things we may use throughout the run, and the second one is miscellaneous items and breeding stuff. Finally, we get to looting. There are 2 types of rooms that have loot, which are the square tops, which have 2 chests that you're going to mine on the opposite corner that the top of the staircase leads to. The other type of room is the triple stack room. To loot these, you go onto the opposite side of where the bridge connects it and go to the top row and mine at the blocks like this, mining the inner chest and then looting the chest. So before you leave the outer end, you're going to want to aim for these things: 4 full elytras, 3 brewing stands, about a stack of obsidian, good armor, good tools, a pickaxe with fortune 3, some tool with silk touch, some beetroot seeds, 2 shulker boxes, and minerals to make up for what you don't get. What I mean by that is if you don't get a good sword, you're going to want to get enough to make a couple of swords and just overall get enough minerals because you don't want to have to get them later. Also for diamonds, you need to be aware that you need at least 4 for a hoe and enchanting table. Taking a look at what the best armor you can get is helmet with respiration and aqua affinity, protection 4 chest plate, protection 4 leggings, depth strider 3 boots. Getting protection on every piece doesn't matter because the chest plate and leggings will always have it because that's the only time you're going to grab those pieces. If you don't get full diamond, it's not the biggest deal in the world. Iron just breaks faster, and in the end you're going to need to craft the pieces you're missing for full netherite. Now, there is one achievement in the outer end, which is great view from up here, which is gotten by teleporting 50 blocks down while having levitation on. So once you're high up and get hit by a shulker, you can either throw a pearl down or use the chorus fruit you got earlier. During this process, you're going to want to look for a ship near an end gateway. Within 20 chunks is ideal, but if you can't find one close and you have to force a far one, it's fine. We want this to do the shulker yeet, which is transporting the shulker back to the end. In a quick summary, you unload a shulker with a fishing rod attached to the boat and go far away and pull it, reloading the chunks in the process to create a large pull. Using a calculator is what I'd recommend because the shulker will land on whatever you want, making the process of punching the boat into the end gateway a lot easier. Once you have got all your stuff done in the outer end and think you have as much as you need, you can now exit the outer end. The first thing you do when you get back is turn your render distance to 2 and turn chunk porters on. This can be done using F3G. You want to build 2 chunks and then 3 blocks into the third chunk on the opposite side of where the end portal is. I usually build 4 blocks on the last chunk and place a block on top because you can punch the shulker to the end of the path without it falling off the edge. Once you get him onto his spot, get the hook onto the bow and start flying to the other side and go until you reach the -6 chunk and pull while making sure you are kinda high up. Raise your render distance and he should yeet up into oblivion, and while he's doing his thing, craft and prep all your stuff that you're going to need. This includes making an anvil, enchanting table, diamond hoe, diamond axe, 3 buckets, extra boat, 15 bookshelves if you have the wood, crossbow, bow, any piece that you're missing or want a better one, and that should be it. This is another check of where the world record is at just for reference. Pull out anything you're going to enchant and put away everything that you don't need, but load 1 arrow into your crossbow before doing so. The shulker should land by the time this is all done, and you can punch him into the portal so he doesn't shoot you, but don't let him through yet. This is the time you punch the egg and collect it to get the next generation. Before shooting him with the crossbow, place a bow in the portal, then turn on hitboxes using F3B and shoot the side of the bow and he should go through. If you have a good amount of ender pearls, you can hop through behind him, and you are about to start one of the most run killing phases, the prep phase. This is going to be a little different for every run you have, so if you have enough rockets, don't worry about doing this next step. If you don't have enough rockets, which is about 10 to 20 plus, fly around to look for another temple to get more gunpowder and collect some paper as you're doing so. Once the rocket count is all good, you are going to go to a river and look for a decent sized clay patch. Once you have found one, turn on chunk borders using F3G and identify the middle of the patch. Go 7 blocks in the positive Z direction and dig down there. If you hit a chunk border, continue counting from the other side. For example, if you count 3 blocks and hit the end of a chunk, go to the other side of the same chunk and count 4 blocks from that edge. This is a 60% chance of having lapis, so if you miss, you can just go back up and find a different patch to mine from. Make sure to use your Fortune 3 pickaxe that you grabbed earlier if it's not on your main pick. Grab as much as you can, but no more than a stack of lapis. I'd say that if you have a lot to enchant, make sure you're getting 40 plus, but you can make the call on how much lapis you think you're going to use. Now that you have lapis, you're going to mine some logs, making a gold axe here and just mining it until it breaks is very good. Once you've got a good amount of logs, make 15 bookshelves and set up your enchanting table. Keep in mind that slimes spawn at 40 minutes and an hour and 10 minutes, so if you're at these night cycles, make sure you go to a swamp if you have one and grab some slime balls. Anyways, enchanting is pretty straightforward. Just keep in mind that the first enchant on an iron sword is looting 3 and a diamond sword is looting 2 if you haven't exited the world. Also keep in mind you need an unbreaking 3 book, so make sure to check every book cycle for it, because without it, your run is kinda over. Also, if you get a channeling book while checking, ensure that you get that, because we will need this, but it's not that important for now. Here is a list of every enchant you absolutely must have, but again, just adjust enchanting based on what you have. This should take about 10 minutes max if you're slow. This is where majority of runs are killed, which can cause some anger from time to time. Once you're done, mine the bookshelves and enchant table. But if you only need channeling and don't have a lot of levels, then you can leave it there, but grab the anvil. Again, if you have a good amount of rockets, you can go to the nearest ocean and start killing fish, which you'll need around 40 give or take your luck. While killing the fish, take off your elytra so you're not wasting elytra durability. When you're done killing all your fish, the prep phase is officially ended, and it's time for the most exciting part of the run, the early game. The early game consists of a lot of things that you need to be doing all at once. Things like breeding your common animals and eating the foods they drop. Most of the time you should go to a village to tame the cats and breed them because it's one of the few times you're going to get more than one unique cat. While you're at your village, grab a stack of hay bales if you can. You're going to fly around a desert and go to every village you see to tame all the cats and loot every temple you see. If you see a monument or a pillager outpost, you want to mark the coords because the closer they are, the easier and faster you can do how did we get here. If you see a plains village, make sure you go to it so you can break the farms for carrots and potatoes, which you need to eat, and you need about 12 carrots, but if you don't get enough, it's fine because you can bone meal them later. From the temples, you want to collect a good amount of bones, 2 rotten flesh and 1 more if you haven't eaten one already, string if you don't have enough for leads, minerals, and obviously TNT and gunpowder. From the temples, you also grab any books that are useful and a notch. You need a notch at some point, so pray that you get one while looting temples. You might not get as many temples as you need from your starting village, but you basically want a stack and a half of TNT, which is about 11 temples. This is where the skill of AA comes in, because you need to make decisions based on your seed. If you run out of desert, you need to go to ocean and do ocean stuff. If you see things like llamas or donkeys, you need to breed them because they aren't common. These are skills you will gain as you play more, but just do what you think is going to be best. Basically, just ensure that you're not going in a circle and are constantly exploring new areas for biomes. Here's what Feinberg Shulkers look like when he's about to leave for the ocean. This will be different every run, but for the most part, this is the desert as a whole, which takes us to the chillest part of the run, the ocean. The ocean is one of the easiest and most relaxing parts of an AA run because it's very straightforward. While in the ocean, you just want to have hitboxes on, stopping at every ocean ruin to check the drowns for one holding tridents or nautilus shells. You need 8 nautilus shells and 1 trident in total. Also, you need to be looting every monument you see, which you should mark the coords of the closest one. Loot the monuments for the 8 gold blocks, but make sure you get at least 16 prismarine or dark prismarine, and you can mix and match these for the conduit later. You also need to kill 1 elder guardian and normal guardian, which can be done at any time. Some other things you should do is loot a shipwreck to get the poisonous potato, and if you have lots of gunpowder, you can loot them for more paper. You just go around the ocean looking for ruins and monuments while also looking for your biomes. The biomes you're really looking out for are Mega Taiga, Mesa, Jungle, Snow, and Mushroom Island. This leads us to the #1 most run killing part of any run, the biomes. The majority of biomes in the game you just need to be in for adventuring time, but in some of the biomes there are some things that you need to do when you find them. To start in any forest throughout the run, you want to look for 2 full beehives when it's night, but it's easier to find them in flower forests and birch forests. You also need 1 azure bluette, which you can grab at any time. In taigas, I'd recommend you go to a couple of villages because they can have pumpkin pie in them. In taigas, you also need to breed foxes and wolves and eat sweet berries. In warm oceans, you need to get a tropical fish and 2 pufferfish. The first beast you find with turtles, you should be breeding them, and if there are a lot of turtles, kill some of the extras for the seaweed instead of using shears. In swamps, you need to look for witch huts for the black cat. In mesas, you need to kill a cave spider if you didn't find a mineshaft already, and also get a name tag for the dolphin later. In jungles, you need to breed pandas, and you can get unlucky with them from time to time, so if they don't have 2, you're going to need to find another one. Grab cocoa beans for cookies, as well as a melon if you haven't eaten one already. Finally, you need to breed ocelots, and the best way to do this is to fly up and they will force spawn, which leading them is easier. In the mushroom biome, you need to breed the mushrooms, and another good thing to do is share 2 of them and breed the cows if you haven't done that already. You also want to use a bowl on the mushroom to get mushroom stew. You also can refill your milk buckets if you've been donging the monuments, and make sure you keep 1 red mushroom and 2 brown mushrooms. Snow biomes have the most things you need to do with your time. First off, you need to open your pie chart to locate the brewing stand, which will be an igloo. If it leads you to a village, just go to these houses and break the brewing stand and rescan for it. When going down to the zombie villager, before you have it kill the regular one, you need to make sure of these things. If you don't have redstone, use a brewing stand to trade for it, which you need to get 6 redstone total. If you have redstone and haven't eaten a rabbit stew yet, use a smoker to get a rabbit stew. Once you have done this, break the middle and turn it to hard so the villager will turn into a zombie villager. If you haven't killed a zombie villager, kill one of them, but if you have, throw the weakness on them and use a golden apple on both of them. It takes about 5 minutes to cure, so while doing this you have a bunch of achievements you can do. At the top of the igloo, go 2RD and throw all but 4 ender pearls into the next chunk, then raise your render distance and kill an endermite if it spawns. If it's nighttime, you need to kill a stray, and also you should do sniper duel right now, which is killing a skeleton 50 blocks away with a bow. It's easiest to do if you're above it, and go to 30 FOV, and if you need extra help, you can go F1 to see even more. With the redstone, make a compass and a bullseye, which if you have a lodestone, you could do country load, take me home. To do bullseye, place it down with a trapdoor on top of it and go 4 blocks above it. Rapid shoot arrows at the top of the center, fly 30 blocks away from it, hit the bullseye anywhere and the trapdoor should open, giving you bullseye. You also need to get 7 beetroot, which you can make a beetroot stew and eat the beetroot. You also should do hired help, which is spawning in an iron golem. If you still haven't got zombie doctor, you can make a shield, shoot above you, block it, and hit yourself or take aim, and not today, thank you. Also, throwing a raw cod and using a fishing rod on it gives you fishy business. If you somehow still have time, you can also find a buried treasure to get a heart of the sea. This is what Feinberg's shulkers are looking like after he's done with his zombie doctor. This should pretty much be everything you need to do in the different biomes during the run. If you're here, that means you have gotten past the worst parts of the run, which leads to the final part, the Nether, again. The Nether is also pretty simple if you know what you're doing and should be entered when you don't have either ocean or desert, or if you have nothing else to do. In the Nether, you need to make up for whatever gold you don't have from monuments, which in total you need 2 stacks and 37 blocks of gold, plus at least 20 gold ingots for the 5 netherite ingots you need. Again, if you don't have a lodestone, getting a bridge is pretty important, otherwise you need to get another full netherite ingot. Looting treasure bastions are the best because they have the most gold, and the bottom treasure chest has a good chance of having a netherite ingot. While looting every bastion, you want to check the chest for obsidian and ancient debris, as well as grab 2 spectral arrows for later. Other than that, in the Nether, you need to explore all the Nether biomes for hot tourist destinations. You also need to breed hoglins in the Crimson biome and kill one of them. When they start breeding, I recommend building a portal next to them and then leading the baby they make to bring it to the overworld. This makes a zoglin, which you also need to kill. You also need to use the saddle you got way earlier on a strider, for this boat has legs, and breeding 2 striders as well. In the Soul Sand Valley, you want to force spawn gas by going 2RD to get Return to Cinder, 4 gas tiers, and finally Uneasy Alliance. To do Uneasy Alliance, you want to go 2RD, hit the gas with a pickaxe, and get the gas on the fishing rod. Turn chunk borders on and go 1 chunk over from where the gas is. The gas will unload, and then you want to pull the gas in a way where it pulls right in front of you. Build a portal and place the TNT where the gas will come. Enter the overworld for a second, then go back through. Once through, the gas is going to snap again, and once it stops, go through the portal and light the TNT about 2 seconds after entering. When you're about to go through to the overworld, raise the RD with F3F, and the gas should explode while you're in the overworld for Uneasy Alliance. The other thing you need to do is get 3 wither skulls, so you need to locate a fortress in the Soul Sand Valley or above lava because they spawn the most mobs. Once you find one, go to 5RD and you should get a lot of spawns of blazes and wither skeletons. You need 4 blaze rods and then just keep resetting the fortress for mobs until you get 3 wither skulls. Make sure you keep the coal you get from them, but no more than a stack. Also, you need to grab 4 nether wart and 4 soul sand from the fortress. Get subspace bubble if you haven't already, and that's just about all the nether stuff. This leaves it for the rest of the miscellaneous advancements and stuff you need to get to finish off the run. The miscellaneous stuff is all the things that you should keep in mind and get done, or things you need to grab at some point. Keep in mind that majority of this can all be done later when you have less to do, but you should do it whenever you can. Getting 2 birds, 1 arrow, you need to have 2 phantoms spawn to do. You should be on hard because when they do spawn, they normally won't spawn with 2 unless you are on hard. If you get them to spawn, get them in a boat, axe both of them twice, and use your crossbow directly at the boat to get it. Our ballistic you do by killing 5 mobs with 1 arrow, which is normally done with a sheep, cow, pig, chicken, and fish. You want to use a pickaxe on the cow, pig, and sheep, get them in a 1x1 hole, then place the bucket of fish and shoot wherever the chicken and fish are. You need to get channeling on your trident and turn on clouds when it rains, because that's how you know it's thundering. You also need a heart of the sea at some point. If you can't find the biomes you need and you've done all your ocean stuff, start using obsidian to randomly blind in the nether to try and get them. You can't sleep until you get very frightening, otherwise you ruin the rain cycle, and thunder is already rare as is. You also need to get a phantom membrane and rabbit foot at some point for potions. You also can do little things like getting an upgrade if you want, but you can do this during the end game. This leads us to the final challenge. Everything you worked for is on the line. One shot to do it all, the end game. The end game starts once you only have a few things left to do. This is what the world record has left to do when he starts his end game. First, you want to go to spawn and set up your portal wherever your shulker is. Go to the nether and find an area that doesn't have lava in it and dig down until you're at Y15. Put on some fire res and just strip mine, then place TNT along your tunnel for the best way to find netherite. You need 20 ancient debris in total, so calculate it based on how much you get. You're going to repeat this TNT cycle until you get all the netherite you need, then go back to spawn. You now need to grab some things, which include a good amount of flowers so you can breed your bees so you get honey faster. Grab a good amount of logs and grab about a stack of cobblestone just to be safe. Grab 2 sugar cane to make sugar, and that should be about everything. Start setting up your in-game stuff, which consists of 4 furnaces, 3 brewing stands, smithing table, 64 sand, 8 cobblestone fences, 2 chests, dispenser, lever, and as many campfires as you have beehives. Set up your beehives by making a 2x2 hole, placing a dirt with a flower and cobblestone wall on top in one corner, and a campfire with the beehive on top of it. Once they pop out, breed as many as you can, and you should get 2x2 as long as you got everything during the run. Start smelting sand in 3 of the furnaces and put your netherite in the last one. You are now going to kill the wither, which is easy to do, but make sure you get a wither rose, which is easiest by spawning him by an animal. Once he's dead, come back and make your beacon and crystals and make your netherite ingots to get full netherite armor and a netherite hoe. You can do your how did we get here setup, which I'll just explain mine, but if you already have one, you can do that one. Place a starter path like this and move the shulker into the blocks and get out of the boat. Cover them up with blocks and build a conduit activator, then place 6 blocks up from the middle block here and 1 over and place water. Break the block and then build up 2 more with a fence right here. Go down to the bottom and place a block here, then the conduit, then another block. Break the 2 blocks here and then break 2 more so the shulker can shoot you. Place 2 cobblestone walls here with the wither rose here and the dispenser facing the wither rose. Place the lever and your setup is done. Time for potions, which has an order to it that you need to follow. First off, make 15 glass bottles and put 6 of them in the honey chest, and make sure throughout this whole process that you check to see if the beehives are full to collect them. Make 8 of the water bottles into awkward potions, leaving 1 a regular bottle. Put sugar in the first one with 2 awkward potions, and put a golden carrot with 2 awkward potions in the second one. The third one you can do any of the extra potions, which are blaze powder, rabbit foot, phantom membrane, or pufferfish. Take one of the night visions out of the second brewing stand and put it in the first one. Take out one of the swiftnesses and put the water bottle in there, and then put swiftness in the second one as well as whatever you brewed in the third one. Place gunpowder in there and start brewing another thing in the third brewing stand. Place gunpowder in the first one once they are done. Take out the splash potions in the second one, then make a third random potion in the second one. Take out all the potions in the first one, then make the fourth and final random potion, which then you put the last 3 in a brewing stand with gunpowder. You should have all 9 potions, which should be put in a chest except Invis, which goes in the dispenser with the 2 spectral arrows. Hey, post-editing Taupe here. After watching that back, I realized that was really kind of complicated, so here's me doing it sped up, and you could slow it down and just watch it over and over again, and you'll eventually understand it. It's not that hard, so good luck with it. But anyways, back to the video. You can place your beacon with haste and click on regen. Make the suspicious stew with the azure bluette and place the enchanted golden apple, pufferfish, then stew in the chest. And you should now have everything done. All that you need to do is to get the last 3 effects, which you start by doing a raid. Blind on your outpost cords, kill a pillager with a flag with your crossbow to get who's the pillager now. Start the raid, but make sure you're on 2RD and on normal. You can switch to easy as soon as it starts. Do the raid like normal, just make sure you kill one of each of the mobs. On the 5 wave, the evoker spawns, but don't kill him before he spawns Vexes. Once you get Hero of the Village and your totem, you can go back to the outpost to get Bad Omen again. Once you have both, build a portal on your monument to get mining fatigue, then lead a dolphin and bring him to your setup. Place him on the fence above, then take off your Depth Strider boots. Make sure you have 3 hunger bars down, then throw all the splash potions on yourself, then put the enchanted golden apple, pufferfish, and stew in this order on your hotbar. Swim in the setup, get hit by the choker, swim to get dolphin's grace, then eat the enchanted golden apple, pufferfish, then swim into the corner of the gates and spam the lever to get glowing and invis, then eat the stew and you should get a furious cocktail. And how did we get here? You should at this point have 4 honey bottles, which you need to make into a honey block to get sticky situation, then turn it back into a honey block to drink, and you should also now get a balanced diet. Fly up in the air and kill yourself with the totem to get post-mortal. You can now go back to the end and respawn the dragon for the end again, and if you have more to do, throw all your stuff in the end portal and die to the explosion. If you have done everything and got thunder during the run, then the dragon respawning will mark the completion of every advancement in Minecraft. Through all the ups and downs, hours of grinding, happy moments,
I did it.
and sad defeats, OBS has crashed. What was once an impossible task has been completed in less than a school day.